Hey,
Yo,
what's up, man? How you doing?
it's going. Getting through the week.
Yeah, that's good. Same here.
Yep. Just been building last few days. Just in the lab.
Nice. What are you working on specifically?
The more high-end customers that we talk to, they want it to be able to implement with whatever existing stack they are already using or selling to their customers.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so a lot of it kind of comes down to integrations. And right now we have custom functions, which is a way to achieve a custom integration, but it's still a little difficult because there has to be some code in between the AI agent and this whatever third party system. So trying to figure out how to take that complicated concept and simplify it in a way where there's like an interface that, kind of like the average no code Joe can use and implement and connect to any other platform like very easily.
Sounds very complicated.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I'm making some good progress though. Like the way I've been testing it is just kind of going back to the basics and trying to solve my own problems with certain use cases. So for example, I would want one of my AI agents to know the data about different contacts in the CRM if I ask it. And that requires some sort of custom function to be able to connect to like a GoHighLevel account or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was able to figure out, I mean, obviously with the help of Claude and GPT and Grok, to take GHL's documentation about how their API works, because they have two different versions of it, which can work completely differently, obviously. And was able to spin up, and Replit AI agents. The Replit AI agents have gotten a lot better, and use that to generate some code that allows my AI agent to talk with the GHL CRM to pull down contact data.
Right.
So that's like the problem solved. So I'm like, how could I replicate that process inside an extremely simple no code interface without having to write and do that code? And so there's certain pieces that I'm identifying that would be needed in order for that system to work, where the code in between the two systems is not having to be edited or seen because it's a template, and the only differences are like the authorization keys or the tokens that are required that you get from GHL to paste in here, and then it just quote works. It just works,
Sure.
that thing.
Yeah.
So fun stuff, but hopefully it's going to be super beneficial to not only these larger clients, but also just everyone else and myself and, everyone using GHL and other CRMs, because this should be applicable to HubSpot and other things too.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, HubSpot's the big one, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. But it does seem like more and more people are starting to compare things. I mean, it's probably just because I'm in that bubble, but GHL, I think, is starting to get some legs because of its adoption by agencies who have larger client bases or the smaller agencies who have a couple clients here and there. Like in the aggregate, I think so many more smaller businesses are getting exposed to GHL, where now they're comparing these other platforms to it and seeing how I have to pay this on top of this for HubSpot. And yeah.
Yeah, HubSpot, I like HubSpot because it does grow with you, but it becomes really easy to spend a lot of money on their system.
Yeah.
Like they have entry level offers, like there's free CRM, which is great, but the pricing scales like Salesforce.
Yeah.
Like they took popcorn pricing to a whole new level.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, GHL is kind of sneaky in pricing too once you start using it a ton.
I think most of these enterprise softwares are. Even any good email tool is pretty sneaky on pricing. Their usage base racks up really quick.
Yeah.
And so is AI. AI is the same thing. Like their
Yeah.
pricing is sneaky. I couldn't believe what you're paying for OpenAI server costs.
Yeah, we were able to reduce that by 5x, like back to our normal numbers. So there was a situation that made that happen, which we were able to fix.
Yeah. But I mean, even still, your regular cost is still thousands. It's more than I thought that it would have been.
Yeah, but it's still less than, I have to do the math, but it's like less than 1% of our like revenue. So I mean, I think just like, using something like that as the metric, I think is good, because you don't, obviously you don't want that cost to be very high.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, of course.
Um, that's actually a good question back to you. Have you ever gone to any of these platforms and added your own API key from any platform? Have you done that ever?
I don't know if I'm the right person to ask, to be honest, because like when it came to AI stuff, I wasn't, at the time we sold our agency, we weren't reselling AI services.
Yeah.
And I didn't use a lot of internal AI tools to run the business because it was just a paid media and email marketing agency. So yeah, I'm probably not the right person to ask. But like I used APIs all the time to integrate into things, but I don't know about like
Uh-huh.
dodging upsold costs by adding my own API key.
So if you were selling AI in that scenario, would you look at something like our system where you're like, oh, I'd much rather just pay for the variable cost per message, like with my own API key, versus paying Stammer 1 cent a message?
I think it's the same answer for everybody. There becomes a break even point, or there becomes a point where the cost is high enough that you
Mhm.
would want to have your own API key to justify it. But yeah, like I would do anything to lower my costs, especially if it's a really obvious thing to do. So yeah, I would do it.
Do you think offering that earlier on in the customer's life cycle is better? Like to hook
Depends on
them
the
in
average
longer?
level of your customer's education.
Yeah.
Like, did they know that they're paying 1 cent per message? And do they know that, I guess, what's the perception of the cost? Is that cheap for the customer or is that expensive? Because if it feels expensive and it's a deterrent, then sure, you could make it earlier on. For me,
Okay.
just starting out on the starter pack, it wouldn't be a big deal because when you upgrade, you could unlock the feature anyways. And it seems like an important feature where you could gate it. Like that's a strong enough value add where to go from $50 a month to 199 or 299, I forget what the next level is. There's a point where it just makes financial sense to upgrade.
Keep that in mind.
I don't think
What
it
about
makes sense
you?
harder.
How's the app
Um,
going?
for what's that?
How's the app going?
Good. Hired another designer today, which
Another
is
designer.
another designer, UI UX.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
because we have version 2 launching and I think I've gotten it 90% of the way there, but a really good UX designer understands how to structure page hierarchy. And they've also created, or they are creating base elements for different states. So it's like the static state, hover state, click state, error state, which I don't have. And they looked through a very simple thing like the date selector in our onboarding, which you use at least twice for yourself and your kid. They made it way smoother. So I'm like, that is already less friction to go through the process. Or like the child selector, right now we have it as a drop down. You tap the drop down, you scroll through. It's like the native Apple scroll through. They're doing it as a little plus minus on the right and left. It's like little time savers that I think are going to improve onboarding, improve the flow. They're redesigning the homepage, just doing a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. So anyway, we had to do it anyways because we need these standardized elements that the devs can come in and like copy paste or just translate into Swift code. And right now, if there are floating elements, you can't really do that. So yeah, hired a UX guy, her UX team today. which is exciting. He's going to take a week. Really, yeah, really, really quick. I know. Also based out of Ukraine, which I'm really happy about because it's probably like the best quality devs and designers. Definitely designers. You can get really, really good designers out of Ukraine. So yeah, we're going to get that built, and then development's going to be under a month. So hopefully we get version 2 out the gate before the end of March. That's the goal.
Nice.
Which is cool because we have a fucking huge creator launching with us end of March. So he was going to post his video March 1st. I asked him, like, you can use the same content, but just hold off because I think our retention is going to be so much better when we have version 2. So just keep it in the chamber for now. We're going to do everything we can to get this version out, and then you can post about it after.
Mm-hmm.
This
is one of those scenarios where I think doing that and waiting just a little bit longer and putting that extra bit of effort in will return, it'll have a great return.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping. I realized that I was so excited to get version 1 out that we rushed it, and I missed some essential UX. I missed some essential user functionality where the user goes through I think the onboarding is really smooth, but then the user gets into the app and they're like, oh, it's just ChatGPT. And they didn't realize that there's a machine learning unless you ask it 20 questions a day for 2 weeks straight. And it was pretty arrogant of me to think that people are just going to use it because they just believe the marketing material. It doesn't work like that. They need the aha moment. They need the immediate value right now. And that was the part that I missed. So that's everything that's launching in version 2. And if it costs me an extra couple $1,000 to perfect the UX, I think it's worth it because that is that's the point of churn, especially on a mobile app. UX is everything.
And it's a fundamental change. It's a fundamental change.
Yeah.
Which I've now become a believer of the quote, like perfection is the enemy of profit or something. I forget whatever that quote is, but it's just like the crux of it is basically like get it out there, get feedback as quickly as possible. Like don't try to, stay in your hut and just build and make it perfect because it's never going to be perfect. But in this scenario, it's like not perfect. It's just a fundamental shift based off your already early feedback and findings and
just based off everything we learned in the first version. I mean, we did from idea to launching in 3 months.
That's pretty good. And that's
pretty
for
quick.
The first version. Yeah.
It's pretty quick, but I realized that we just missed the reason that people open the app. That's it. And we missed the key differentiator between Google or ChatGPT. We built the back end and it works and it works quite well, but there wasn't a big enough value add to just not use the free version of ChatGPT.
Yeah.
That was it. So anyway, we just figured that we had to actually hard code in all of the features that are really important.
Yeah.
And we looked at what are the core features of our most popular parenting apps that we would consider competitors. We just made a better version of them. And it's cheaper. So I feel good about it. I'm excited. Now I feel like it's really something that our creators can stand behind and something that I can stand behind, and where the user gets onto the app and they're like, oh, it has sleep tracking with the ideal bedtime, just like Huckleberry, except it's not $130. It's $60. Oh, and it has a meal plan creator, which is already better than just a how do you introduce food, which is solid starts. And it has a milestone tracker, which is basically making the US CDC data available publicly, which it is not currently. There's no aggregate data. It's just a broad range. So I think that we're taking the most important features for parents and just putting it into one super app where you can, that's it.
Do you see this scaling beyond iOS apps into a web application?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to launch the Android version pretty soon. We just have to get the iOS version out first.
Okay. What about a full web application?
I don't think so. What parent who Like, what busy parent who has a crying kid is going to take the time to open their computer and research something? No, you're just going to take out your phone. I think for this, it'd be tough. Like, there's no web app for Huckleberry, for Flow, for Solid Starts. It's all just mobile apps. I think there's a lot of money to be made in mobile apps.
So was this change triggered by like one feedback call that you had, or was there like some podcast that you watched where you had like another aha moment where you were like, oh, I need to change everything? Or
Well, it was three things. First, it was user feedback. Some people were genuinely asking, what's the difference between this and ChatGPT? And I had to explain to them that it has this adaptive memory, because that's not completely obvious. The second thing was speaking with other developers and designers and them encouraging us not to just rely on AI to give an output, but to hard code the things that the user uses most. And then the third thing is, I'm a parent. I have a 1.5-year-old, and I have another kid that's due in 2 months, or a wife that's due with a new kid in 2 months. You know what I mean? And I'm not opening Bambi every day. That's the problem, is that that's the fucking thing that I missed. I open Huckleberry every day for sleep tracking, but Huckleberry is this huge, massively built out software where you can track bottle feedings and how many ounces and their mood and diaper changes and like this crazy thing. And then there's Nanit that has this sleep tracker that is an actual baby cam that evaluates when the child wakes up, when they stir, what noises they're making, how that, like, it's this crazy sleep analysis. But when you're past the first 2 months of life, you don't care. You just care, what time did they wake up? That's going to tell me what time they go to sleep. Like, there's this massive feature set built out in these big competitors that I don't think is useful. And their one most useful feature, which is they call it, they have a trademark term, but it's basically, what time do I put my kid down to bed and what time should I start winding them down? Read them a book, give them a bath, get them ready to go to sleep.
yeah.
That feature is $130 a year. And the Nanit baby camera is like $280. So they're really expensive when their core functionality is just, what time do I put my kid to bed? That's the only thing that matters. And then the third thing, this is the big one, is what our creators are talking about. So we gave the app to our creators, and for a creator, we're paying them. So they give us the time of day to explain how it functions on the back end, right? For everybody that has made videos for us so far, they've talked about sleep regression and nap time, creating meal plans, and like activity ideas or developmental milestones. So these are the things that parents are already thinking about, they're already talking about, that they're worried about, that they're tracking, or that they need help with. So I'm like, let's just put all of this together in one app.
Smart.
We'll see. I don't normally think it's a good idea to be like a master of everything or a jack of all trades type of app, but I truly think there are only a few key things that every parent wants, and they don't need to track bottle feeds and diaper changes. They just need to track sleep. They don't need to see how to prepare a strawberry for a 6-month-old. Mash it up and give it on a spoon. It's just like obvious shit. But they do want to create a meal plan for their 1-year-old that's picky, that doesn't like 25 different foods, but you need to get them to eat. Mm-hmm. So create a meal plan based around what they like or what they don't like. For the sleep tracker, it's just the analysis of what time you should put them to bed. It's the only really, really valuable feature. And this competitor knows that, which is why it's this big upgrade. It goes from free to I think $60, and then you want the sleep tracker, it goes to $130. So it's like, they know it's the most valuable feature. And it's a legacy app. It's been around forever. I don't think they're using AI to predict it. I think they're using user data. So I guess it's AI in a sense, but there's better ways to calculate it now.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I'm a full believer of the solving your own problems. And if you are if you are the customer that you are trying to target, and like you said, if you're not opening the app or using it every day, that's a problem.
That's exactly. I wasn't using my own app. Like, that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
And if I am going to use it, if I use that or ChatGPT and I have one question every couple of days, it's an interchangeable answer. It's like, you're not getting that much more value out of it. Because ChatGPT, the free version, has a 30-day memory, which could be good enough if you're only using it every few days.
Yeah, but the hard coded features, I think, is definitely a takeaway for anybody, basically. Like,
That was a big one. And also, I mean, Stammer's cheapest plan is $50 a month, right? And you have some pretty high AI costs. Imagine you're $50 a year. Your entire feature is the chatbot, and you're trying to get people to use it every day.
yeah,
All of a sudden, I'm like, this is like 20% of our margin. Like, this is a lot. And then you get a couple super users, and it'll jack it up.
gone.
So that was the
Yep.
other thing I realized. I'm like, the chat just needs to be a supplement based on information that we're collecting in the hard-coded data. And I think this also gives us additional revenue streams like the milestone tracker. We're going to collect a lot of really valuable data about how children develop, which could be super important for some companies. So,
Very important.
yeah, I mean, exactly.
The end of March.
End of March. That's the goal.
Are you going to use any of those creator platforms like WAP or any of those things?
Totally. Yeah. I don't know about WAP because that's like if you have YouTube content, people snip it up and you give them a reward based on the 1,000 views. But we're going to use TikTok One. It was launched today or yesterday, I think. Did you see that?
TikTok One?
Yeah. They're killing TikTok Creator Marketplace and they're calling it TikTok One. I haven't done much research yet other than reading the email. I think it's basically a two-sided marketplace with one account. So I could sign up and produce videos for a brand, or I could hire other creators to produce videos for me.
Got it.
So
they're taking over like that creator marketplace.
it's taking over Creator Marketplace. Creator Marketplace got a lot of negative feedback as well.
Yeah.
Like people that did get hundreds of thousands of views per video went onto Creator Marketplace and their views tanked. So there's that. And then we're using we're going to do like a cold sequence through creatorcontact.io. You sent me that. And then the platform that I think is really cool is Posted.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, Posted
is super cool.
Yeah. That's like the 99 Designs one, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Posted.
Yeah, I got on a call with the founder the other day. It's what's cool about that platform is they already hit critical mass to make it useful. And now as time goes on and more people get onto it, I think it's just going to get better and better.
That's sick.
That'll be a good one. So basically, for anybody who doesn't know, what you do is it's kind of like you set a contest. You say, I'm going to put up $3,000 as a bounty for anybody who wants to make videos about my thing. It's usually a product, sometimes a software. And then creators that are signed on, I think they have like 7,000 creators, look at it and they say, cool, that's a good enough bounty. And yeah, I know that topic. I can make videos about that. And then they will make videos and post it on their socials, giving you full advertising rights. So you have the Spark code. And as a result, what ends up happening is you get hundreds or thousands of creators to make videos about your thing. And then the top creator, top 1, 2, 3, get the payout. So the person, based on views, the person who gets the most views gets a huge payout. Second most, some payout. Third gets a bit of the payout. Fucking brilliant.
I might be able to sign up as a creator on the other end of this too. And just like, if I was making a video about one of these AI companies or products anyways,
yeah,
just submit it and be like, oh,
you're already doing it anyway. Like you're making content for your page for the sake of having content.
Yeah.
Might as well get paid to do it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's still pretty small. I don't think they have a ton of creators and brands. Like relatively 7,000 people is not a ton. If they grow, if they end up getting like 1 million people on the platform, it's going to be an absolute powerhouse.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they have a sign up as a creator. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Might be worth looking at. But
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
excited. It's still a weird feeling just sinking money into software. Not a feeling I'm accustomed to, spending this amount of money without income. But
I think it's a good play. And I think in a few months we'll be laughing at the amount of signups that you're getting and being like, holy shit, I can't believe you just did it.
I hope so. I feel really good about this version of the product because I would use
Same.
it every day. Just makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
If it's an app you open every day, you're not going to not pay for it. We're also doing an extended trial. I think we made a mistake on that. We did a 3-day trial on the annual, no trial on them. But our sign up, we just had a low conversion rate from, lose my words. Anyway, we need to get more people to try it for free now that it's an app you're going to use every day. It has sleep tracking. You're going to use it every day, multiple times a day. Every nap, every sleep, you're going to use that feature.
Yeah.
So that's my goal now. I'm not as nervous to give it away for free because my previous thought was I'm giving away AI for free and incurring AI costs.
API costs for free. Yeah.
Exactly. Which is why I
Yep.
was really reluctant to have a long trial. But now, if they're just hard-coded sleep tracking features, it doesn't cost me much money in server costs to have somebody on the platform. And it's something that they'll open and use every day. And then when the renewal comes up or when their trial ends, they're not going to feel bad about paying for it because they're using it.
From that onboarding flow that you were showing me the other day, it seems like most apps follow that flow.
Most new ones, for sure.
Ones. And part of that flow is forcing a credit card trial, like through Apple Pay.
That is the only option.
Yeah. So if you get halfway through the onboarding process and then you exit out of the app, it brings you right back to that process, that part of the onboarding, and you have to select the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of apps don't even do the trial. It's like just sign up right now for monthly or yearly, but it's against Apple's terms of service. So you'll normally publish the first version with a free trial on your more expensive plan, usually annual. And then after it's published, you can go back and change it to version 1.1 and republish it and take out the trial. And normally it'll sneak by. So I'm seeing that happen a lot more often.
Interesting. Well, it's
Feels
definitely
shitty.
something we're leaning into doing the forced trial. Like you still get a trial, but you have to select a trial. And I think that's one thing to help minimize some of the issues with people wanting to white label and not even knowing what that is or how it works. Like just try it, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think forced credit card trial is a really good idea. As an end user, the one thing I don't like about a forced credit card trial is I don't know how to cancel it. Like, I don't know. I fucking hate when I sign up for softwares and you go to cancel and it's like, contact us at sales at this thing. I'm like, fuck
Terrible.
you guys.
Yeah.
So it might be cool if you want to force a credit card trial, if you just show someone in like a little animated GIF of like, don't worry, you can cancel here. Boop, boop. And just show like, it's literally 2 clicks and your trial is canceled.
Yep. I think ours is 3 clicks, but basically same idea. Yeah. We post a little something in there. Yeah.
Anyway, now I feel like I'm in purgatory again. I'm waiting for the app to launch for another month. Because honestly, I'm not confident enough to run ads on the current version. I don't feel like there's enough of a competitive edge. I'm going to spend all this money on ads and probably get a bunch of trials because our marketing material is good. But if the trials are just going to churn out, then what's the point? Might as well just save the money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the next version of the app is so much better that I would do the same.
Yeah. So now I'm just going to have to make a bunch of money with Stammer for the next month or so.
There we go.
Hey.
Have you used Grok Unhinged?
I saw a bunch of tweets about the Grok sexy mode.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that's so funny. It's kind of ironic though. Like, Elon's such a procreation, pro-human, whatever. It's like his whole thing, like make babies and procreate. And then he releases like a sexually powered AI tool. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? This is stupid.
I think so much of not only what he's doing, but I think a lot of other people in the game right now are doing it's like following Hollywood of like what they grew up watching as kids and like wanting to build that or like, strive towards building that. And things like, and I mean, this is obviously a way more recent movie, but the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, where he had like that's essentially what that sexy mode thing is like that movie is now real. Crazy.
It's scary. Yeah, the line, I was talking to my brother yesterday and I mean, he spends a lot of time with AI and Replit because they've got like a big dev team that uses a lot of these tools. He's saying like uh, the line between imagination and reality is basically gone. Like whatever you can think of, whatever you want to create, you can just create. Not quite, not to the point where you don't need technical skills, but almost. It's like, it's almost there.
It's almost there. In a couple of years, I mean, yeah, it'll fully be there.
Yeah.
If you can just prompt anything into existence. Yeah. Have you, so I added Super Whisper to my computer, which is like the better than Apple dictation.
Never even heard of it.
So like instead of having to type in, you can just talk to your microphone and it will perfectly transcribe what you're saying into the text box.
That's really cool. I actually use that feature for Apple all the time, so I would use that.
Yeah. So I like using the Super Whisper app, and then on my MacBook Pro there's the microphone icon, right?
Yeah, like F5. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. There's this other app called Carabiner. So I use both of those apps together to be able to remap that key to open Super Whisper. So it basically now takes, and I turned Apple dictation off. So now it's like a seamless experience where I can just click a button, talk, click it, and then it's all perfect. And Apple dictation sometimes works, but this is flawless.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And I use that. Fuck, I almost wish I was back in college when all these tools came out. Life would be so much easier, especially the dictation tool I used religiously.
Yeah. I mean, and so many of these viral videos that I'm seeing like promote these apps are kind of structured like that, where, you know, it's like filming a professor talking and then it shows the screen and it's just like transcribing everything, or you know, someone's like popping open an online quiz and they have the window to the right of it that's just like telling you the answers. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, college is going to have to fundamentally change.
Yeah, I mean, education changes. Like it's basically your ability to concentrate and prompt. Like prompt engineering is going to be more important than having information. It already is.
Which is then kind of like a language thing, like how well can you command English, essentially, because all the prompts are better in English, or they accept prompts in English better. So it's like you have to know English in order to work with LLMs.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I actually never thought about it like that.
America's just got another big leg up. That, like if you're a native English speaker, life's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah, English is kind of now cemented as the language of the future for prompting. Well, that's a spicy take, because I'm sure they'll be able to get better with other languages, just like anything.
Yeah, of course. But for now, like wherever the leaders are, wherever the tech is headquartered, that is the language of choice. That's a good take. I never thought about it like that. English and Mandarin. Those are going to be pretty important.
Yeah. But I think everyone also, from a education point of view, everyone's just going to have a personal AI in their ear 24/7 eventually, that you just talk to all the like it'll just be your personal companion and it'll help you with everything. It'll remember everything. Like, I think that's, you know, it just enhances us. But there is a feedback.
What do you mean?
Like, for example, the other day, my mom was like, oh, I have multiple computers and one set of monitors and I needed to find a product. So I went into ChatGPT and I just explained my problem. And it was like, oh, you need to purchase a KVM switch. Here's the different options. And it helped walk her through not only solving the problem, but then provided her a product to purchase. And she did all of that in ChatGPT. She didn't use Google, and like made a purchase. And imagine if that, like how the future will progress, where that problem will still persist, but instead of her going to her desktop and going and logging in, or going to her phone and typing, she just speaks aloud and is like, hey, I have this problem. And like, like how Siri can like understand stuff if you hey Siri. Sure, it didn't trigger, but I think it'll become that where it's just it'll be omnipresent. It'll be listening all the time.
I mean, it's not that far fetched. It's already here basically. The only difference is you need to choose to activate it in ChatGPT, but your phone is already omnipresent.
Yeah, or like Alexa or the Google
Right.
Home things, like they're all there and they're listening 24/7 already. They're just listening for those keywords. I mean, yeah,
Dude, watch in the next year or so, there's going to be GPT Home.
if someone hasn't already developed like that, for sure is a thing.
Well, have you seen the rumors for HomePod? Or what's it called? Anyway, it's not an iPad, it's a new Apple home management device. Because everybody uses iPads in their home, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like where you can dock your iPad in the wall or something, right?
Yeah, that, except it's its own device.
Oh, I don't think it's something different.
It might not be released. It's only rumors right now. But like, so Apple is now there. I don't know if you know, Siri is replaced by ChatGPT. It's still branded as Siri, but it's powered by ChatGPT. So it already exists. If you already have a home control system and you use Siri, you're using ChatGPT to search for things.
Which is wild that Apple
Kind of already
did that.
there. Yeah, I know.
AirPods will get smaller. I think they'll become like little dots or something. Like little, just like a little piercing or something, and use AI just all day long.
That would be crazy. A little Apple piercing.
Yeah, or like maybe at some point you could like replace one of your teeth with like a computer, and then there's like a bone conduction microphone in your tooth. So like you don't have to wear anything, but like you could hear it through the conduction of your teeth and your bone in your jaw.
That's too much. I don't trust any company enough to hardwire it into my bone. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that either. Someone will.
You see, Mr. Beast is doing a private raise of $5 billion.
I have no doubt he'll be able to accomplish that. It's wild.
Trying to find the article. I was trying to figure out what it's for, but it looks like it's to fund the holding company for all of the Beast enterprise companies. It's not that interesting, but $5 billion private raise is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure he has the network to be able to accomplish that for sure.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I'm going to be a lot more exciting to talk to in the next couple of weeks when we actually get development underway and I can show data and be like, look, we have users.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm just sitting in purgatory, kind of waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, I feel it.
Well, this has been a fun but uneventful office hours.
Yeah. Well, next one will be better.
Yeah. Win some, dim sum.